Hello, everyone out there in our TPN community. Welcome to another episode of TPN Talks with Leticia. Today, we have a special guest, Sparrow Whitchurch, who's our Parenting Inside Out program manager. So, Sparrow, thank you so much for joining me today for this conversation. So why don't you start by just introducing yourself and then anything that you want to share with our community about you?
My name is Sparrow, and I am the Parenting Inside Out program manager. I use they or she pronouns. I've been with the Pathfinder Network for almost 3 years. I grew up in rural Northern California, Humboldt County on the coast, practically Oregon. Big fan of nature and gardening and eating good food and just enjoying the simple, fine things that life has to offer.
Well, thank you for sharing about the unique facts and things about you. Let's talk a little bit about your role. You're one of one club here at the Pathfinder Network, meaning you are our only person that's in your role. So tell us about your role.
Yes. So, as the Parenting Inside Out program manager, I am a part of the Partnered Impact Department, which is our external facing department that we have here at the Pathfinder Network, where we get to share the really innovative and impactful work that we do here at the Pathfinder Network and help other organizations and systems across the country learn how to implement those things and work with us to make changes. So, I'm in the little corner of TPN that takes us out of Oregon and onto the national and global scale, actually.
So what would you say is your favorite thing about Parenting Inside Out?
My favorite thing is thinking about generational impact because we understand through lived experience, through research, that systems involvement affects generations and families. You know, in Parenting Inside Out, we talk about this family legacy backpack that we're all carrying around with us. And through the skills and tools that this curriculum provides families with, we're able to kind of change what's in those backpacks. People are able to take things out, put new things in, and then the backpacks that their children get to carry around, maybe that load is a little lighter or a little softer. I think that's the thing that really motivates me is we're impacting adults, we're impacting children, we're impacting whole families. We understand that incarceration affects caregivers of children. It's not just the person who's inside, but the people who have to carry that load while somebody is incarcerated. And Parenting Inside Out helps make that a more functional situation for everyone involved.
I love the way you described that. I think we both believe that Parenting Inside Out also equips and changes and transforms systems. And so how do you see that transformation that you talked about with parents and caregivers and children happening at the systems level?
Any partnering agency that implements Parenting Inside Out gets trained through us. So we have the opportunity to have direct contact with internal staff. And it's always interesting being in those trainings because we're able to introduce them to something different, something more impactful. And that is consistent feedback that we're getting from especially Department of Corrections staff who take our training, that it is one of their favorite trainings they've ever been a part of, and that it broadened their perspectives. And then that can create better relationships between correctional officer staff and, you know, the adults that are inside.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful ripple effect. You know, you talked about the generational impact as well. So just really cool privilege that we have doing the work that we do. Kind of shifting gears to talk about shared leadership. You are absolutely one of our shared leadership champions. How have you participated in shared leadership, and what would you say are some of your takeaways?
I love shared leadership. So I've done a variety of shared leadership. I've been on a couple of different ERGs. I've participated in White Staff for Racial Justice, and I'm currently involved with the Community of Pride ERG. I really value those specific shared leadership spaces because I'm able to connect with staff across the agency that I might not have the opportunity to. And we're connecting around a shared experience or a shared purpose. And that to me really is like when we're getting to the B in our DEIJB values, like those spaces absolutely help create a sense of belonging. And I love that there is no like script of what an ERG is supposed to do exactly or has to do. Like the group is able to come up with that autonomously. And I think that's incredibly purposeful and impactful. I'm also finishing up a term as equity team co-chair. I've been on the equity team for about a year. And I think that has been one of the shared leadership experiences that has pushed me to grow the most. When I started at the Pathfinder Network, I was incredibly shy. I remember being in like the all TPN meeting, right? And there's like 70 plus people on the screen and like wanting to like share something and my heart just like beating out of my chest and being like, oh my gosh, I just couldn't find my voice. And I really feel like shared leadership experiences have allowed me to navigate that and overcome that and find my voice. And now I've been able to serve as the equity team co-chair, and I'm able to facilitate whole meetings for this group that does incredibly important, sensitive work for our agency. And I'm able to like hold that space, and like the confidence is just really, really cool. And to see a team take ideas, right, and turn them into meaningful action is so, so cool. I think that shared leadership as a model is a really incredible way that the Pathfinder Network operationalizes its values, because we live in this hierarchical culture, and it's this invitation that no matter what like level or pay grade or where you are at in our organizational hierarchy, because they just exist, they have to for us to function, it's empowering you and it's saying, no, you have a voice. You know, if you are interested in learning about budgets, go join the budget temporary team, right? If you want to help guide a conversation, there is a space for you to show up and do that and make an impact. And I have seen like contributions that I've provided in temporary teams like move forward and become like policies and practices that our agency is implementing. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. I had the courage to like show up, say something, and it's made an impact.
Your response speaks for itself, so we'll just let it lie. The next question I want to ask you feels similar. What are your significant experiences or memories during your time at TPN that have had the most impact on you?
This is a deep question for me. I really feel like the theme of my journey at the Pathfinder Network is one of learning to like stand in my own power and to really like cultivate the life that I want to have. I was thinking about this question as we were preparing for this, and I was thinking about our mission statement and empowering individuals, families, and communities. And when I showed up at the Pathfinder Network, I wasn't like fully broken, but I had some stuff. You know, I hadn't been living a life that was aligned with my values. I was coming out of like being impacted by a bunch of different systems with my family. And at the Pathfinder Network, I have been like held in my brightest light with all of the people that I work with, like literally everyone that I work with, you know, not just my supervisors, but the people down on the center floor. The stability that I have been able to cultivate in my life working here has created like an increased level of stability for my family. I'm able to show up for them in ways that I wasn't able to before working here. I'm able to show up for myself, like go to the dentist. I remember being like, what? I can just go to the dentist? How cool. It's a very big answer to your question. But by the Pathfinder Network, like equipping me with the ability to show up as the best version of myself, my family is impacted, and then I am able to do this incredible work that impacts communities, and not just like small communities, but like I get to do work that impacts system level communities. And that is really cool. You know, I get to travel with the partnered impact team to go to conferences, and we just get to have these like silly moments together that are really authentic. And that it's so meaningful, right? To get to do like the coolest work with the coolest people and to be fully myself.
That's beautiful. Something that you said that is sticking out to me is this idea of like, we're not just here trying to reduce recidivism for our participants and communities. Like, we want them to thrive and be successful and live out their fullest potential. And I think we really do work pretty hard to create a parallel process for everyone who comes into our community. So when you were sharing, I was thinking about how the Pathfinder Network has been for me too. Like, it gave me the path to reach a potential that I never thought would be possible, and to create a level of stability for me and my family that I could have never imagined either, that has literally changed the trajectory of my life and definitely the life of people who I cared about. So I appreciate you lifting that up. I love your share. And it's connected to the last question that I want to ask you, which, our mission at the Pathfinder Network is to provide tools and support to individuals and families that are impacted by the criminal justice system so that they can be safe and thrive. So what does that mission mean to you? And what do you see for the future of the Pathfinder Network?
To me, like, the foundation of our mission is recognizing the full spectrum of humanity in everyone and the full spectrum of human experience that we go through, right? Because there's so many different experiences, like an infinite amount. One of my little things that I say is don't shit all over people. And I think we don't do that at the Pathfinder Network. We let people show up exactly who they are, how they are, and we find space to support them. As someone who has navigated systems, worked within systems, systems do not recognize the humanity in people. So to be that space, even if we can't provide somebody with housing directly, and that might be the thing that they need, at least like we are showing them that somebody sees their humanity. And when we move with that as like a core tenet, like, I really believe that anything is possible. I want to see the Pathfinder Network be a national level like leader for innovation and how we serve the justice involved community. And I just think that the way that we operationalize it is so meaningful and impactful and transformative that we have all of the makings, we have all of the like building blocks or foundations to be able to share the way that we do things with the nation and the world and help create change in these really big systemic ways. Making an impact on an individual is incredibly important and valuable. And we know that these systems that we work within could really use an evolution or two. And they're not going to do that unless somebody is saying, hey, we figured things out that work, and they're fiscally responsible, and they are rooted in evidence, and all of the things that we want to hear. So I think that really is an area that the Pathfinder Network could grow. I'd also love to see, I just want to see us in more counties, more rural counties where possible. I know there's a lot that goes into establishing services, and I think that rural areas just lack so much when it comes to social services, and it would be really cool to see us more present in those spaces.
Love your vision. Appreciate you sharing and your honesty and vulnerability too throughout our conversation today. So just thank you for your time and for this conversation. It was so lovely. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us on another episode of TPN Talks with Leticia. We will see you next time.